The last two questions on the review dealt with a segment bisector. Now, when we talk about bisect, we see this word bisectors. When we talk about bisect, what we mean is to cut in half. So bisect means to cut in half or cut into two equal pieces. So if you read this statement at the top, it says, in the figure below, segment, that's the symbol for segment, CD, bisects AB at point D. What that means is this segment right here, CD, cuts AB in half at point D. Now, since CD cuts AB in half at D, that means that D is the midpoint of the segment. If I'm cutting the segment in half, wouldn't it make sense that I was going through the middle point? So D is the midpoint. So what we're going to look at now is they're going to give us some distances. We have AD is 2x plus 11. So I'm going to go from A to D is 2x plus 11. And D to B is 4x minus 5. Okay? Now, what do you know about those two pieces, A to D and D to B? What did we already say D was? D is the midpoint. That means it's halfway. Well, when I cut something in half, doesn't that mean two equal halves? So 2x plus 11, which is the length from A to D, should be equal to 4x minus 5, which is the length from D to B, because these are two equal pieces. This piece and this piece are congruent, okay? And we'll talk about congruent in the next unit, that's same size, same shape, which you have seen before. So let's move back to this and let's solve for x. So I want to get all the variables on one side and all the constants on the other. That's what we call the numbers that don't have variables. They're constants because they're always constant. They don't change. Variables are called variables because they vary. X could change. Variables represent values that could change. Variables can change. Constants, 11 will always be 11. It's going to constantly be 11. Negative 5 or 5 will constantly be 5. It will never change. So I'm going to choose to move the 2x to this side. You can move the 4x if you want. Just make sure you follow the correct procedure. So since it's a positive 2x, I'm going to subtract it. The 11 comes down. That leaves me with 2x minus 5. Now I want to get the 2x by itself, so I'm going to take the minus 5, the negative 5, and do the opposite. I'm going to add it. So I'm going to get 16 equals 2x. Once I've gotten 16 equals 2x, I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And 16 divided by 2 is 8. So there's my first value, x, which is 8. I know x is 8. Now I'm going to use x, knowing it's 8, to find the length of AB, the whole segment. So in order to do this, what you're going to do is you're going to take one of these two values. It doesn't matter. I'm going to use AD. So I've got 2x plus 11. And I'm going to plug in my x value, which is 8, for x, plus 11. And 2 times 8 is 16, and 16 plus 11 equals 27. But be careful. What does 27 represent? 27 is the length of AD. What is it asking you to find? AB. The entire segment. Well, we know D is in the middle already. So if AD is 27, that means that DB should also be 27 because they're equal. So 27 plus 27 is 54. If this is 27 and this is 27, the whole thing from A to B is 54. So let's look at the last one. Let's look at number 34. So on number 34, it tells us that AB, so we're going to do it in different color. It tells us that AB That's all the way across. AB is 5x minus 4. So the whole segment is 5x minus 4. And then they tell us that DB, which is from here to here, is x plus 1. So this is x plus 1. So what do I do with that? Well, if you remember, we established at the beginning this word bisect, which means cut in half, which means D is in the middle. It's the midpoint. So if D is in the middle, that means whatever DB is, AD should also be the same thing, right? Because isn't that in the middle? So that piece and that piece should be equal or congruent. So now I'm ready to set it up. I know that x plus 1, which is AD, plus x plus 1, which is DB, is going to equal 5x minus 4, which is the distance from A all the way to B. So now we're going to solve this. So x plus x is 2x, 1 plus 1 is 2, and I have 5x minus 4. Move this up a little bit out of the shadow. So then I'm going to do my next step, which is to get the variables on one side. So I'm going to subtract the 2x to this side. That'll leave me with 2 equals 3x minus 4. Now I'm going to move my constant, one of my constants, so I'm going to add 4 to this side. So 6 equals 3x. And now I'm going to divide both sides by 3. So x is going to equal 6 divided by 3, which is 2. Now that I know x is 2, I can use that information to find AD. Okay? AD is what did we establish? X plus 1, right? So I'm going to take x plus 1, but what's x? It's 2. So 2 plus 1. So AD is 3. If you want to check your answer, you can plug in. Let's check our answer. If x is 2, that means 5 times 2 minus 4. That's 6, right? Okay. Then I have DB, which is x plus 1. X is 2. 2 plus 1, which equals 3. Now AB is the distance all the way across, which is 6. And DB is halfway, so that should be 3. And AD is also halfway, which should be 3. So that's how you use the idea of the segment bisector.